Hello, I'm Ryan Cook, and this is Civic Tech Chat, a podcast about the civic technology movement. We seek to harness the power technology has to improve the delivery of public services to people everywhere.
Welcome to another episode of Civic Tech Chat. This is week 2 of our Summit-focused content. And for this one, we have something special. During Summit, I went around and collected short interviews from folks that were attending the event. There are folks from all kinds of diverse locations, brigades, working on a wide array of projects, and from a wide array of different backgrounds. Now, usually, I would do some sort of prompt for this sort of content, some sort of overview of the event, why we were all there. But I think perhaps this time, we'll leave it to Jill to start us off and give us all of that information. So let's go ahead and hop right in.
We're at Code for America's Summit. It is the second annual summit, representing the Brigade Network, which is the volunteer arm of Code for America, and really the national movement that it has sparked across the country and the world. The brigades represent about 65 cities, and we come together for 3 days. One day is just the brigades, and then there's 2 days with the summit, and talk about civic tech, how we're doing good, how we're screwing up, what are best practices. It is an amazing experience of being able to connect with other people that think like you and that are basically your tribe. You just don't know they're your tribe until they show up. For me, it is very much an equal parts exhausting and energizing. The exhausting wears off when I get home because I sleep, and the energized floats me for months. But the main thing about coming to Summit, and the reason why it is so important, is because we're dispersed over the whole country. There's no better way for us to connect and build relationships than to do it in person. These connections and these relationships will make it so much easier for our brigade leaders and members to reach out to each other when they have a question in their respective cities. And that can't be matched anywhere. There's no electronic tool that can ever make up for that personal connection and what we gain from that later.
So can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Jill Bierce. Most people call me Jillsy because they can't say the last name. And I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I am the brigade captain there. I also am privileged to sit on the Code for America National Advisory Council. This year I get to serve as the chair. And yeah.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
I truly believe in my heart of hearts that there's no stronger social justice cause than fixing our government. It is the umbrella across all of the rest of the social justice needs. So if we can fix that, and the more strides we make towards making a more efficient, more open, transparent government, the more we're able to address other social causes.
Can you tell us about a project that you're currently working on?
So right now I'm working on a re-entry hub that will serve the North Carolina formerly incarcerated population. We're working with both the public-private partnership with different resource providers, as well as the county and the city governments and the police force. What we're doing is building a interactive roadmap that allows people who have been formerly incarcerated to go through and pick the services and the needs that they need, with a look at what the future ends like. So the first thing it asks them is, what does your successful reentry look like? Do you need a job? Are you interested in entrepreneurial training? Are you interested in better financial literacy? Are you interested in, is housing important to you? Is transportation important to you? And then we can take that and it will pick out different resources that you need and help make a viable roadmap for you to see the path ahead of you and know what resources are there and what you need to accomplish to make it there.
And the term civic tech, what does it mean to you?
So civic tech, that's always a really hard one to define because it doesn't have a good definition. For me, civic tech is anything that changes the way we fundamentally interact with our government services. Whether that be through technology, through policy, through advocacy, those are all forms of civic tech.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your involvement with civic tech?
So my superpower is I can translate developer into English and English back into developer. I'm very good at herding cats and speaking their language. So it makes it easier I talk like a developer. People think that I'm a developer. I am not. I married one and I spawned one. And that's pretty much my development cred. But I'm constantly around them in my work life and in my home life. So I understand their language. I understand what they're doing. And it makes it easier for me to translate their skills into actionable things for other developers to do.
And now this might be the most difficult question I've asked you so far, but which brigade, in your opinion, has the best sticker?
I am fascinated with the idea that anybody said anything other than their own brigade.
Oh, there's quite a resistance to saying their own brigade.
Oh, mine is definitely my own.
Nice.
So today it's official that we changed Code for Charlotte is officially Open Charlotte Brigade. And that name change was announced this morning. And in light of that, we designed new stickers, which, if you ask me, down on the table downstairs with all those stickers is easily the best looking sticker. It incorporates both our city skyline as well as sun rays coming up and our logo with the new name. That very much iterates. We left in the tag brackets in the logo from the previous, which signify our commitment to technology and what that can mean for our city, but with a broader focus on community.
Nice, and I have to say, having seen the sticker as well, it is a really impressive one. Even though I will say I do have a bias for Skyline-based stickers, but it is definitely a great design.
Much better than the Beta NYC one.
Oh.
Could you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Cyrus Sethna. I am a digital service expert with the United States Digital Service, hailing from Washington, D.C.
What brigade are you involved with?
So I co-founded Open Uptown with Ryan Cook. Open Uptown is a Code for America brigade in Chicago, Illinois, and I am transitioning to be involved as a community member with Code for DC.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
So I have been a technologist since I was a little kid, right? My mom's a software engineer, always encouraged me to do little, hobby projects on the weekends and in my summer breaks. And I'm also a public servant, right, by profession. I love the intersection in our movement between technology and what is possible in our world and the impact of public service.
Can you tell us about a project you're working on?
Sure. So right now, with the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, we are working to evangelize an API-first strategy. So we're working really hard to convince the government in the value of not maintaining large, bloated legacy systems with tons of technical debt, but instead build minimalistic, robust APIs that we can use to empower the industry, the market, to build applications for different use cases.
What is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
I think my civic tech superpower is going to be listening. I think active listening. And that's not necessarily a technical skill, right? But it's something that I learned in Peace Corps when you're trying to do behavior change work, which is primarily what Civic Tech is. There's a need to listen actively to needs and concerns and even fears that government partners have in order to get things done.
All right, and lastly, which brigade has the best sticker, in your opinion?
Definitely Open Uptown. We have an amazing logo using the angle brackets inspired by Code for America's logo with a skyline of the city of Chicago, and in the background a very amazing Art Deco eagle that adorns the Uptown post office station.
Nice, you even know the story behind it.
I sure do.
So, could you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm Chris Given. I am from Washington, D.C., where I work with the U.S. Digital Service, transforming technology at the VA.
And what is the why that drives your involvement in Civic Tech?
What is the why? Look, at the end of the day, you talk to someone and they tell you their story about how they have interacted with government, and there's so much that goes into that. So many people work behind the scenes to make a government service possible, and there are so many small problems throughout that process that could really transform it to be better for the people who are consuming it. And so at the end of the day, my why is I hear their stories and I want to understand what's going wrong for them inside government.
Nice. And can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
So I work on a team at the VA that's working on a project called Appeals Modernization. If you're a veteran who has a disability that's connected to your time in service, you can apply for disability compensation benefits. But if you are not satisfied with VA's decision on your claim, you can appeal that decision. And you enter a process that will last 5 years at minimum before you talk to a judge. And veterans describe it to us as a black hole. They don't have any information about what's happening during those years that they wait. And so we released a tool called Appeal Status that shows the veteran where they are in line and allows them to understand what's happening and what actions they can take and what they need to do.
What does Civic Tech mean to you?
Civic Tech for me is about the combination of a diverse set of backgrounds, people who understand policy, people who understand design, people who understand activism and engineering and cartography and the law, putting all those pieces together in order to create a more effective public space.
What is your superpower, and how do you use it in your Civic Tech involvement?
My superpower is taking data and finding a way to make it more accessible and more useful to more people.
Awesome. And the last question, perhaps the most divisive. Which brigade here has the best sticker?
Absolutely, Code for DC, 100%. There is no question.
Oh, I like a strong opinion. Thank you so much. All right. So first, can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
So my name is Nehemiah Dacris. I am the co-captain of the St. Louis brigade known as OpenSTL.
Nice. And Nehemiah, you've been on the program before?
Yes.
But we'll go over this again. What is the why that drives your involvement in Civic Tech?
I think governments, our government, particularly local governments, their invisibility causes cities to get stuck on a rut and allow themselves to get run down because they're not completely engaged with their citizens.
Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
Yes. Our brigade is currently working on a software to visualize our vacant housing, like graph it, map it, and shall I tell you progress of it?
Go for it.
So we've actually gotten 2 prototypes. It's funny enough because we held a hackathon. People kept working after the hackathon, which fills me with glee. One worked directly with our land and housing association, land bank basically, who technically is the organization that owns our vacant housing. They work with one of our hackers to create a visualization, and they identified a slumlord, basically. They identified someone who's been a terrible landlord, allowing the city to run down and then a drain on the city. They allow the city to action. They've given the city a call to action. which is basically the best part of visualizations. It's why we graph, to identify trends.
And now, what does civic tech mean to you?
To me, when you leverage technology to solve civic issues.
Lastly, in your opinion, which brigade has the best sticker?
I actually really like Code for Canada's. Like, it speaks to me because it's it's a graph that turned into a leaf, like a maple leaf, which is, so they've sort of taken a data structure and they've taken a flag and made it into a data structure. So I like it.
Nice. I think that one's pretty cool also.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, my name is Isana Luiza. I'm from Florianópolis, south of Brazil. And I'm software developer and the founder of Code for Floripa. Floripa is the nickname of the city called Florianópolis.
And what is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
The why for me is something about love. I think that I have to give first, and then the universe will give me back in a loving way. I think that is it. It's a way of use my technology tasks to improve the world and act with love.
Nice, I really like that answer. And can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
Mm-hmm. We are working on a lot of projects, but one of the most important is called Firecast. The Firecast is an app that makes the link between the firefighters and the society. It's a way to access the data and the occurrences that are going on in an easier way.
Very cool. Let's see, and what does the term civic tech mean to you?
For me, civic tech means use technological resource to solve civic problems.
Nice. What is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
I think that my superpower is a way of building bridges between the feelings of people and society paying to technological stuffs. And I use my superpower in Code for Floripa, just helping the society to technology.
So, could you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm Vishnu. I'm a student at UNC Chapel Hill. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm one of the co-captains of Code for Chapel Hill.
Awesome. What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
So I think technology is inherently a political force. So if you're thinking about how technology kind of speciates in our environment, you're inherently making political decisions, right? So like if you decide to use the internet to communicate, you're centralizing all communication, right? And so I think having more voices represented in that creation process is important, and I think civic technology is an important way of doing that.
Oh, that's a keen observation. Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
So we're working on a couple of different projects at our brigade. We're a pretty new brigade, so we're kind of like testing out the waters by going into a lot of different spaces, but the one that I've been pretty involved with is this Measure the Future project, and so we're using basically like a Raspberry Pi, HD webcams, and like infrared sensors to do usage tracking in libraries and parks, because those kinds of sensors are actually really expensive for municipalities to buy, so if we can kind of do a DIY version of it, it would be pretty helpful. And so we're using that open source Measure the Future project and kind of implementing it for Chapel Hill.
Wow, and if I could ask a follow-up on that, what has your, relationship been like with your partners as you've been trying to put that together with them?
So our main partner in this has been the town of Chapel Hill itself. So we've been working with the Deputy Chief Data Officer, who is like pretty plugged into the community, and so he's been really, really helpful in like helping us procure equipment and like talk to the right people. So pretty great, I would say.
Awesome. And what does civic tech mean to you?
I think it's about bridging the public-private divide in technology. So we're near Silicon Valley, private sector is doing a lot of great work with technology, but civic technology is a matter of bringing that into the public sector and making our government work with it better.
And what would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your work in civic tech?
So I think thus far in my undergraduate career, I've focused on bridging kind of the liberal arts and STEM. And I think my superpower, if you want to call it that, is being that kind of bridge and like helping both sides communicate with each other better.
And last, a pretty critical question. Which brigade here has the best sticker?
So we were actually talking about this at our table. There's this brigade with a balloon and these like tags on the end. And I don't know what brigade it is, but I'd like to find out. I really like the graphic design.
Well, if you figure that out, you're going to have to let me know.
Yeah, definitely. We'll do.
Hello there. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
So I'm Dylan. I'm a student at UNC Chapel Hill, and I'm from there, the Raleigh area, the Triangles.
Nice. And what is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
So I think if you think about the idealistic government and kind of the ideal image of democracy, it's something that would be impossible without technology. So the technology is a way to connect people, and you need a fully connected society to have a well-functioning government.
And can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
Yeah, so I'm actually trying to adapt the Adopt a Drain project that has been done by Code for San Francisco and a lot of other brigades, just as kind of a starter project to get our brigade off the ground since we're so new.
Awesome. And what does civic tech mean to you?
Civic tech is government. So it's the new form of government. I think if you're doing government without technology, it's outdated, and it's just an update for the government around the world.
And what would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your involvement in civic tech?
I think my superpower is just figuring things out. So I find myself in a lot of situations where I really don't know anything about the task at hand. And I think it's not really a superpower specific to me, but something that anybody can do. If you just kind of put your head down and think long enough about any problem, you can solve it. So there's no problem too large in government or in technology for a brigade to solve. So.
And last, but perhaps most important, which brigade has the best sticker?
That's a hard one. I've seen this really interesting sticker that's like a graph, like a fully connected graph. And I have no idea what brigade it belongs to, but I think it's a nice, it's like a mix of art and technology. So, it's a graph that you'd see in like a computer science class, but it's also very well designed. So.
That sounds really cool. So could you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm Mohith Rao, and I'm from St. Louis, and I'm a computer science student.
Awesome. And what is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
Well, I started off just as a normal tech student, and one of my friends from high school, we were talking, and he said that he actually hated our city because he was tired of it, or there were some issues that we were facing, and he wanted to move out. And that was kind of my outlook for a while. I was kind of bored and stuff. And I realized that instead of trying to move out and spending a lot of money and then spending time rebuilding your network in a different city, I figured I would fix my problems in my own city and improve my I guess state of living whatever I wanted, and help improve it instead of leaving it.
It sounds like you're putting a lot of passion into kind of improving from inside the tent.
Yeah.
Is that an accurate?
Yeah. I feel like tech just can help a lot in a lot of, especially now that we're always on computers and stuff. So, I just wanted to see if I can help change and improve our lives. Yeah.
And can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
Right now, we're working on a vacant housing visualization project. We're amassing all of the vacant housing and the foreclosed homes within the city, all the data from the city from different sources, and we're amassing a map or some type of, database, so that it's easily accessible to people who are interested in buying property or repopulating the city.
And what does civic tech mean to you?
Civic tech means that we are using technology in any way to help offer and easily access services offered by the government, especially in local government.
And what would you describe as your superpower, and how do you use it in civic tech?
My superpower, I think that I would say would be, networking is one of the superpowers. Is where talking to the right people and getting the slow moving multiple parts of government going to really push for the change that we need desperately. So that's something
That is a good superpower to have around a brigade for sure.
Yeah.
And my last question for you, perhaps the most important one, which brigade do you think has the best sticker?
Best sticker? Is it just sticker design, or is it sticker already printed?
Dealer's choice.
Okay.
However you want to evaluate it.
Because I'm gonna have to go with the home field here. I think that our sticker, we haven't really printed them yet, but our stickers are pretty cool. I also like Dayton, Ohio's. Their stickers are pretty cool as well.
Oh yes, yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
And could you describe what yours is, I guess, going to look like when it's printed?
Ours is I forget what it's called. It's like the crest of St. Louis within curly braces.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Yeah, so that's our logo.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
My name's Amenity Applewhite. I'm working for the City of Austin. I'm a product manager of our new website, austin.gov.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
I was in community neighborhood activism. I was doing a lot there. Was super frustrated by all of the city content, the city technology that I ran into, and I just decided that I should be a part of the solution. So I went to work at the city.
Can you tell us a bit about a project that you're working on?
Yeah, I mean, we're obsessing over the austin.gov website, and we're in alpha stage right now. Our priorities on the site are hand-translated content, which is something that no other city that I know of is doing. Instead of using Google Translate, which we have tested with residents, and they actually say it's useless to them. They would rather just have the site in English. We are sending all of our content to contractors to be translated, so that's one of the high points of it. But mostly we're just working as a small team, putting things out there, testing, and bringing it right back.
What does civic tech mean to you?
I actually looked that term up the other day for a talk or a paper or something I was writing, and it goes, if you look at Wikipedia, it kind of goes way back and goes back to technology in the civic realm. But really, when I think of civic tech, I remember a coworker of mine, a brigade captain of Open Austin, our brigade, saying right after the election, saying, civic tech is so young. This is our first presidential election, and he was just kind of trying to give us a pep talk. And so I've always thought, yeah, it is really young, because you think of like when 18F came out, and really we're having this kind of energy in government is totally new. So when I think of civic tech, I think of maybe there's other things it applies to technically, but I think of this movement.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
I think I ask a lot of questions, and I talk to whoever I can and try to connect people with each other, because that helps people solve problems faster. And just try to bring enthusiasm to what I'm doing and always think about the people that we're serving.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Greg, and I live in D.C., but I've also lived in Providence and Philly. And I am both involved with Code for DC, and I work on the Open Cities team at the Sunlight Foundation.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
Good question. If I'm interested in, this kind of tech stuff, it's like, I don't know, like I could be working for some company to figure out how to sell more ads, or I could be doing stuff that's like trying to improve people's lives. And so it seems kind of like an easy choice to me, but yeah.
It sounds like what you're describing as sort of like that statement on those Code for America stickers floating around that's like build something that matters or something like that. Does that capture your sentiment?
It does. I would not want to do something that I don't feel matters. And it's challenging for me because I think, it's all kind of saying that kind of sounds like I'm painting a lot of the world as not mattering when I think it does. Like I think, I don't know, like restaurant service, like they're doing something that matters because like if there's no restaurant service, then there's no restaurants, or like, all sorts of different cogs and all the machines out there. And so, I have tremendous respect for, the vast majority of things in the world that people do. And I think most things that people do in the world create value. But I guess, so I guess really to me it's sort of a more, I guess, sort of systems level or change level that I'm interested in. Yeah.
Awesome. And can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
Yeah, so one interesting thing, it's sort of like a meta project, which is redesigning the Code for DC website. It needs a lot of, it needs a significant update of its content, and it also could use a better design. We're looking for the website to be less outdated, more informative, less intimidating. I think it's a little bit intimidating right now. Just more clear, more easy to find stuff. And so, it's funny because, when you hear about like what's your civic tech project, it's usually like an actual thing related to a thing, and this is like meta for the other civic tech stuff. But, it's important, figuring out, enhancing the process of getting people in the door is important for people's ability to do all those other projects.
Absolutely. I'm glad you mentioned a meta project, as you put it like that. Those types of things keep groups running. So that's really important. So what does civic tech mean to you?
Oh, boy. Well, there's definitely a technology part. I think the tricky part more is like what does the civic part mean? Is civic tech, is it government technology? Is it people in the community doing tech stuff for a certain purpose? And if so, which purpose? And I think it's a vague, broad term that can encompass all of those things. So it could be, a volunteer group doing tech stuff for, to something that's aimed directly at other people in the community. It could be helping out a nonprofit. It could be helping out a government. It could be something going on inside of government. Potentially, it could even include tech stuff related to advocacy, maybe. I think it's broad.
All right, perhaps the most important question of all. Which brigade has the best sticker?
Well, obviously the answer is my home brigade, Code for DC. And part of that is because our brigade sticker, or / our logo, is the same sort of brackets that you see with a lot of the other logos and stickers, and in the middle is the DC flag. And the key part here is that DC, tied with maybe Chicago, has the best city flag in the country. Actually, most city flags are terrible. There's a great TED Talk about city flags. Incredible. You should watch it. So we take our awesome city flag and then put the brackets, and And I've had lots of people. I've got lots of stickers on my laptop. Lots of people, they see all these stickers and they say, "Oh, like I really like this one with the DC flag and the brackets. Like, what's that?" So if that's any indication, that is the best one.
That's an excellent choice, and I think our Chicago audience members are going to really appreciate that shout out for their flag as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And for this one, we'll be with Michael, my brigade buddy for Summit. Michael, could you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm Michael. I'm from Open Oakland. I am a retired software developer and I'm part of the leadership team at Open Oakland.
What would you say is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
Well, since I retired, I've been involved in volunteering in many aspects of the city. And Open Oakland allows me to volunteer at doing coding, which is what I did for all my career.
Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
I'm mostly working on Open Disclosure, which is a campaign finance project. We disclose the campaign finance information for the city of Oakland.
What does civic tech mean to you?
Civic tech is technology that helps people get information about and interact in better ways with their government.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
I don't know that I have a superpower for civic tech. I guess it's just my general interest and my time availability. So.
Hey, being available, I think, is a superpower as well. All right, so perhaps this is the most critical question I have on the list. Which brigade has the best sticker?
Oh, the best
sticker.
Well, of course, it's not here because Open Oakland didn't provide one, but I do have an Open Oakland sticker, and of course, that's the best one, although we only had a limited number. So.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Hi, I'm Julia. I'm from Osnabrück, which is a very small city in Germany, and there I'm member and also lab lead. We call it Open Knowledge Labs in Germany, and I try to figure out what is open data that we can get in Osnabrück and in Germany and what we can do with it, because we are right at the start, founded half a year ago, and now I'm glad to be here at Code for America Summit to find out what you can do with open data and to find out ideas for new projects.
Wow, that's incredible. Can you tell us what is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
I studied German studies in Germany and also sociology, and I think it's very often kind of embarrassing how few people know about technical things, and they often see computers or IT systems as dangers and not as tools who can help solving problems. And I think we can change those people's minds to make more visible what tools and technical things could help to improve society.
Nice. And can you tell us about a project that you're involved with?
Well, I'm just trying out to adapt projects from other Code 4 labs in Germany to Osnabrück. We just worked a little bit on the budget planning. Can you say that in English? About the money that our city has and what it does with it. And there's also a new project which is from OK Lab Karlsruhe, which is another city in Germany. They try to visualize all those farm shops and what they sell and where you can buy what and how you can pay. And I think that's a really good thing to make open data more visible and show people how to use them practically in their everyday life. So very small projects, but maybe with an impact in the end.
That's really cool. And what does the term civic tech mean to you?
I think it's the combination of the needs of people, so of problems in the society and technical solutions. So trying to figure out how technical systems can help you and I mean, help the people. That's it.
Nice. What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your involvement with Civic Tech?
Oh, I think my superpower is helping people and explaining things, because I like working and I like figuring out how things work, and I like explaining people and showing them how to do things so that they don't have to do so much work on their own, which was maybe too much because I like doing it. So superpower maybe helping.
Nice. That is a much needed superpower in our space. All right, so this is perhaps the most divisive question that we have on here. It's the hard one. It's the hardball. Which brigade here has the best sticker, in your opinion?
Oh, I collected yesterday so many stickers. I don't know. I really can't say. Code for America, because it's Code for America and it combines everything, maybe.
Okay, nice. That's a good safe answer there.
It is, yeah. Let me think about... I think really those Code for America stickers with do stuff that matters. So don't do anything just because it's possible and you feel cool with it, but really try to find problems and solve them. I think I like those most, and do something. So those encouraging stickers from Code for America. Is it okay?
Yes, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. I like it. Those are good stickers. Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm David Ginsberg. I'm the brigade captain for Open Data Delaware, and I'm from Delaware. And when I'm not working on brigade business, I'm actually a Civic Tech consultant. So I work in the same space that I volunteer in.
What is the why that drives your involvement in Civic Tech?
So for me, being involved in Civic Tech is a way to leverage some of what I've done in the past with software development or with other technical projects in a way that can directly impact people, can directly help to improve the way that we are serving our fellow citizens, and sometimes in a selfish way to help the way that I'm receiving services from government, community organizations, etc.
Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
So right now we have a project in Delaware. The Delaware School Choice Program is the system by which parents of school-age children can send their kids to a school outside of their normal feeder pattern, their school district. And it's a little bit messy because you can literally send your child to any school in the state if you choose to use the School Choice Program. So we're creating Delaware School Choice Sherpa, which is being used or is targeted to help parents navigate at first the charter school system and then the whole school system for the state of Delaware to understand what are the strengths and weaknesses of each school, what kinds of services are offered, and find the school that best fits their children's needs.
What does Civic Tech mean to you?
So to me, Civic Tech is it's a little buzzwordy, but it's sometimes it's the technology that we use in order to help civil society run smoothly, including government technology, but also including, say, the technological side of what other community organizations, nonprofits do. But there's also a non-tech component, sort of in the same way that sometimes you might talk about civic hackers in a non-technological way, where they're working on improving a system or an approach to a particular problem. To me, it kind of also includes the ways that we gather information that eventually goes into these systems or that allows us to deliver services or communicate between citizens, social service organizations, and government.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you make use of it in Civic Tech?
So I'm kind of in that stereotypical scene that's in any superhero movie where you've got somebody that is just discovering they've got some power they didn't know about. I've had a couple of people come to me, or not come to me, I go to them to say, oh, thank you so much for speaking. And I get this immediate, oh, well, thank you for being there. you were always paying so much attention. I really knew you were listening, and I looked back to you to see if I was getting the room's attention. So apparently, I don't want to say that I always listen well, but I can convey that I am trying to listen, that I am paying attention, and I try to use that to hear what people are saying first, and hear what their needs are before just saying, oh, I've got this really cool Angular app, let's find a problem that we can solve with it. And instead to say, well, what are the problems you're facing? What is your experience? And how can I help, or how can we help?
Nice. Those listening skills are no doubt useful in this space. So since you mentioned it to me, I will ask, what is your favorite Civic Tech Chat episode?
So my favorite Civic Tech Chat episode is, I think it was actually the first episode that I listened to when I saw it mentioned in This Week in Civic Tech, was the Human-Centered Design episode, interviewing, I forgot her name, but we were talking about it earlier, the woman who has built her own Human-Centered Design consultancy.
Nice. Yeah, that's a shout out to Amanda Damewood there, design guru. And our last question here, and perhaps the most divisive and the hardest to answer. Which brigade, in your opinion, has the best sticker?
So I'm going to not let myself say our own brigade, and instead say one of the other brigades that I really like their sticker for, both because of the design and how far away it came from. I really like the Code for Japan sticker. If you haven't seen it, it's the open curly brace with instead of a matching brace, it has a J, a sans serif J that kind of looks like a closed brace. It's very simple, it's very direct, and it's pretty recognizable.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
My name is Hauseki from Japan, and running Code for Japan.
Nice. And what is the why that drives your interest in civic tech?
Okay. Oh, good question. I was just a computer engineer many times and long times, and I experienced the big earthquake in Japan, 2013 and 2011, and I was started the project called Shinsai.info. It is a crowdsourcing system for collecting the earthquake information and where the help is needed, or what kind of support will be open when, and also we detect the fake information and map that information at the digital map services. So using open source, so I started that kind of activities and realized that the local government need to provide more data for explain what's happening for the earthquake and what thinking they are rebuilding that area, damaged area. So I started conversation with the local government people, and I also thought more tech talent needed for this field, this kind of government field, public service field. So at that time I saw the Jennifer Parker's TED Talk, and I thought maybe I can start this kind of project in Japan. So I started Code for Japan.
Very cool. And can you tell us a bit about a project that you're working on right now?
Right now, Code for Japan is right now, Code for Japan running two kind of project. One is helping brigades like Code for America does. So we organize a network for the local brigade So, and currently, Code for Japan has nearly 80 brigades right now, and we have we running meetups for the local brigades and also connect the people who want to solve the issues with technologies. So, and second project is for the government. We are running a data academy. It provides workshops for the local government officials how to utilize their data for improving their work. So, and we provide workshops for the 18 local governments last year.
Nice. And the term civic tech, what does that mean to you?
Civic tech means, for me, building trust with government people and people who want to solve the problem using their skills, whatever they can code or design or collect the data or something. It's important opportunity to involve the many people who have not interest in joining the public services.
And what would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in civic tech?
If I have a superpower, I will change the government decision-making process to use more open technologies.
And then, okay, last one. This is kind of a silly one, but
Mhm.
also very serious. So you've seen like there's stickers like out on the table and stuff. Which of the stickers that the brigades have is your favorite one?
Okay, let me check that. This one. This brigade.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is the chicken used for Austin, Texas's ODD agency. Nice.
Yeah.
I met that person earlier. They're really nice. Yeah. Cool. That was a good choice.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
My name is Mark Meyer. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska. I work as a photographer in Anchorage, Alaska, which I've done for about 20 years. And I also work for I do work on Code for Anchorage Brigade.
What is the why that drives your involvement with civic tech?
Oh, there's lots of whys. A lot of it is just honestly personal, making myself a better coder. And that was actually the first thing that got me into civic tech. And then after I discovered what a big world it is, it's the civic aspects of it have kind of made me keep going.
Can you tell us about a project that you're currently working on?
I've currently been working on the Anchorage CourtBot quite a lot, and it's been really pretty exciting because Anchorage has been working on that for a long time, and we've finally got it to a place where the court system in Anchorage has kind of given us the okay to start deploying it, and so we're starting to see some people actually using it.
And what does the term civic tech mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question. I think civic tech means taking people as they come and using their talents for the good of everybody.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
Yeah, so I think my superpower is actually that I don't really have a superpower. And so, coming into a group like Code for Anchorage or Code for anything where there's a lot of people that are really good at what they're doing, really coming in and not knowing anything has, I think, actually worked in my favor and has let me approach problems a little bit differently and work on projects from a different direction.
And lastly, and perhaps most seriously, which brigade here has the best sticker?
So I really like what I think is the code for Pittsburgh because it looks like it has fourfold symmetry, and I don't know whether it's a caret, a V, or a less than or a greater than sign.
Nice. Thank you so much. What is your name, where you're from, and what you do?
I'm Chris Alfano. I'm from Code for Philly. I'm a software developer, a former brigade captain, current senior advisor, and an at-large member of the National Advisory Council.
And what is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
What drives my involvement in civic tech is how I see power consolidating around capital, and I want to see some power rebalanced with people that want to improve their communities, and I think technology is the best lever we have to do that. And right now, technology workers and people in the creative economy are fortunate to have good incomes and pretty stable jobs, and I think it's on us to use that time we have to contribute our skills, these amazing skills we build mostly in the private sector, to kind of like pull them out of there and apply them on our own time to our communities.
Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
One project I'm working on right now is setting up a discourse forum for the National Brigade Network. I'm really excited about that because I think there's a lot of knowledge that's spread around this community, a lot of know-how we're building, and a lot of cities and a lot of communities have a lot of the same challenges and needs. And I think to really tap our superpower as a network generation, we need to be using the network, acting like a network. And I think this forum/wiki could be a really big part of that.
So someone who wants to hop on that wiki, how do they go about that?
Just go to discourse.codeforamerica.org. We're going to have links up to that on the Brigade site up at the top corner. And you can sign up. We're going to have it so you can sign in with Twitter or GitHub if you don't want to make another account somewhere. And it's pretty easy to contribute. You can either create a new topic, reply to existing topics, or create a topic and turn it into a wiki page and edit that and make it something that folks in the community can contribute to and build on top of what you start.
The term civic tech, what does it mean to you?
To me, civic tech is when folks use technology or help technology be applied for the public interest in their communities. I like Mark Head's analogy of grab your toga and this notion of citizenship, that you have to engage in your community, contribute to your community. I avoid the word citizenship because that has some other connotations for a lot of folks. But the sense of contributing to your community, I think, is important, and I wish we had a word for that wasn't tied to documentation.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your involvement with civic tech?
I think we all have a superpower of collaborating across the whole country and the world even, and we need to use that by sharing what we do so that those that work on the same thing after us can build on top of what we started and avoid us all just doing the same things over and over again. We need to accumulate and get more powerful over time, and we're going to do that by sharing, by taking the time after we do something to write about it, to talk about it, to help others build on top of it.
All right, and perhaps most critically of all the things we've talked about so far, which brigade, in your opinion, has the best sticker?
Obviously Code for Philly, but I'm a little biased. If you take that out of the equation, I really like Open Oakland's Emergent O, made out of all these little blobs. Open Savannah has a similar thing, but it's not their official sticker or logo, so it's got to go to Open Oakland.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
My name is Dawn McDougall. I am from Code for Philly, and I'm a senior advisor at Code for Philly. I'm also the Northeast Regional Representative for the National Advisory Council for Code for America.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
Wow. See, that's a great question. Why? That's such a great question. There's a bunch of stuff. I guess there's a bunch of stuff that I could talk about that answers that. But I think at a very fundamental level, like people should just be able to be involved in governance. Like that's just pretty basically, it impacts their lives every single day. And as a society, we have to better participate and collaborate in these civic structures that touch every single one of us. And I think it's also the vehicle that enables us and empowers us to take care of other people. So it's really important that we are incredibly thoughtful about those structures and how we participate in those structures. And I think the brigade is a really unique and new way to engage in old systems and hopefully help improve those systems. And we have a lot of responsibility for how we go about that improvement.
Can you tell us about a project that you're currently working on?
So I think I have a slightly roundabout answer for projects when it comes to things like Code for Philly. So I think that when we think about projects in a narrow view as software, that is definitely one type of way to participate in the brigade, and it's one output for what we do. But so much of what we do really starts with relationship building. So I'm actually in the process of handing over leadership to a new set of volunteers who are going to be our captains. And so right now I'm investing a lot of time in helping them establish what their leadership will look like, how do we really create sustainability in the brigade, and how do we as an organization and a group really create sustainability for ourselves in terms of things like funding even, and what makes sense within the scope of the brigade. So we are having some really interesting conversations where right now I'm helping to support the project management function of a project called Philly Ward Leaders. This was an application that was built about 3 years ago now, actually, and was adopted by a nonprofit partner. They didn't really know how to maintain it and were curious if they should be going back to Code for Philly for volunteers or if they should be paying for services to maintain it. And so we said, yeah, let Code for Philly maintain it, and in terms of like helping them set up some of the maintenance and new feature work. And then what maintenance looks like from Code for Philly's perspective is helping them recruit technical volunteers and helping them manage technical volunteers. So those are a couple of the things that I'm working on right now with Code for Philly.
And the term civic tech, what does it mean to you?
To me, civic technology is about using technology and data and design and all kinds of things that fit into the technology world as a mode of civic engagement, civic participation.
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it in your involvement with civic tech?
What? That is such a hard question. So when we got asked this question for our workshop, I had no idea how to answer this question. That is a really good question. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say off the cuff, and if you ask me this tomorrow, I'll probably have a totally different answer. But I think that my ability to be direct and forthright with people is not something that a lot of people have, and I'm not always perfect at it, but I definitely think that is something that has been really important for holding our leadership team accountable, holding myself accountable, holding our volunteers accountable, but also people who we work with. Who are the people who we really want to say, you need to do better. So I'm speaking really more in terms of our government partners, and we don't approach it as like, you need to do better, but we know that you also want to do better, so how can we help support you in that? So I think just having really direct and honest conversations helps us get away from all the niceties that oftentimes blur what really needs to get done, and so then it takes us to action, and I think everyone's a lot happier when we're able just to have that sort of getting things done mentality and attitude.
All right, now this might be the hardest question of the bunch. Which brigade has the best sticker?
This is the hardest question of the bunch, and I had to do a full survey of the stickers, and I learned that it's Code for Albuquerque because they have a hot air balloon inside of a code bracket, and I love that. I think it's so cool. So that's my favorite, is Code for Albuquerque.
Nice choice. I like that one also.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Can you tell us your name, where you're from, and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Nina Kin. I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm a systems analyst at the County of Los Angeles Auditor Controller.
What is the why that drives your involvement in civic tech?
The why. So why I'm involved in civic tech is because I've been involved in government technology for the past 11 years. And I've seen us do really cool things, but I've also seen a lot of inefficiencies or things that we have a hard time fixing. And I'm interested in learning how to improve the way that we do things, and educate the community, educate people within government, have more of a back and forth in that.
Can you tell us about a project that you're working on?
One of the projects I'm on that I'm really excited about is actually for work. And what we're doing is we're building a centralized repository for all of the contract information that we have here in LA County. Because currently, every department does their own contracting, and so all of that information is very siloed. And it's very difficult to get an overall picture of the state of contracting across all of the departments. So what we're trying to do is to create, a really simple sort of database that will work across all the lines of business that our various departments are involved in, so that we can track and report on data, like even something as basic as how many active contracts do we have in the county, and how many of them are with vendors who are local small businesses.
What does civic tech mean to you?
I think of it as tech that, impacts all of us and our neighborhoods and our communities. That's not defined by whether or not you can pay for services or anything like that. I know that's kind of broad, but
What would you say is your superpower, and how do you use it for civic tech?
My superpower. What is my superpower? That's something I've been working on for a while, and I'm still figuring out a bit. But I think at this point I would say talking to people. Surprisingly for me, because I used to be very anxious in talking to people. But I think that that's one skill or superpower that I've been working on and developed, and what we really need is a lot of community building and connecting of people, so that's what I try to do.
And the last question, perhaps the most important, which brigade, in your opinion, has the best sticker?
Well, no question there. I think Hack for LA has the best sticker.
Nice. You can follow us on Twitter using the handle @CivicTechChat, visit us on the web at civictech.chat, or subscribe to us for content updates wherever it is you download your podcasts.